this team to me feels, and I don't mean this in any sort of a like sports way. I mean this in a fan experience way. This is starting to feel like the Kevin Durant Warriors. My expectations are that high. It's different because it's football and you only play one game. I think we all knew that, blessed with health, the Warriors were not going to lose 4 times to somebody. This is different. It's football. So when I say that those expectations are there, I'm not going to let anybody put the phrase Super Bowl or bust in my mouth. We're not doing that because there's just too many factors that can go into this.
But you can say they should win the Super Bowl.
If they're healthy,
they should win the Super Bowl.
They're the best team. And
you can leave out the or bust because there is no or bust.
Yeah.
With a quarterback making $800,000, and I have the rankings right here, he's the 75th highest paid quarterback in football.
75th. So that's all the starters, all the backups, and some of the third stringers.
He's tied with Sam Howell, Skylar Thompson, Bailey Zappi. They're all making $870.
Oh, wow. Sam Howell is also
$870.
So another starter making $870.
Josh Dobbs is making $833.
Jeez.
Jake Browning is making $750,000.
Oh, poor Jake.
And then you get into your Carson Wentz. Bottom of the list, according to Spotrac, AJ McCarron, $388. That's the vet min. Tommy DeVito's making $416.
He making more than AJ McCarron?
Yeah, Brock Purdy's making more than all these guys, all these starters.
All these cheapies.
Trevor Siemian, starter in New York for a moment.
Hey, I don't want to shoot. I don't want
just a quick aside.
I don't want to say this out loud.
Do it.
I shouldn't. Well,
it's
now
too late now. Now you have to.
You won't.
Nice, Lucas.
I mean,
Randy, but same thing.
We've spent the last 3 or 4 years screaming about how there was something wrong with Kyle Shanahan's system hurting people. And you look around the league now, specifically at the quarterback position. Look at those names you all just threw out.
Oh, I got more names too.
Bottom of the list, and they're all playing because of how many injuries we've seen at the quarterback position. And knock on wood and get all mad at me if something happens on Sunday. I totally get it, but I'm sorry. Like, it seems relevant to mention this, that like the Trevor Lawrence last night, this game ends with Jake Browning playing against C.J. Beathard. And so quarterbacks are going out like crazy this year. And the bug has not bitten the 49ers as of yet.
And I put the over-under at 1.5 quarterbacks to start games, and you guys all took the over. And it was mainly because injury. And so far, so good, knock on wood. They've only had one guy start games.
Remember, it was 1.5, and then you asked 2.5. I said no, but I'll take the over on 1.5. And gosh, by rights, we probably coulda, shoulda, based on what we all thought. He's the only guy to graduate out of the concussion protocol in 4 seconds. We thought Sam Darnold would have started that game following Minnesota, but it didn't happen. Anyway, I don't want to push the tease too far.
No.
The 49ers have waived Ty Davis-Price, which I think is the final curtain falling on ever drafting a running back in the 3rd round ever again.
That's hilarious.
Nope, it's over. Kyle, sorry. That's it. I don't make the rules. I just talk about them. You are not allowed to draft a running back in the 3rd round ever, ever, ever again because it just doesn't work. You just cut him a year or 2 later every time.
How about a running back, period? Because you've drafted... Well, Joe Williams was a 4th rounder.
Okay, sorry.
No, but I like your premise.
And Trey Sermon
I like the bit. Trey Sermon was the 3rd.
TDP?
TDP was a 3rd rounder, Mark.
3rd rounder.
This year they had 10 picks, didn't take a running back, so maybe he's learned his lesson. Last year it was TDP in the 3rd, 2022. 2021, Trey Sermon in the 3rd. And then you go back to, there's a couple years in a row he didn't take a back. 2017, Joe Williams in the 4th. Grand total of 0 games.
Yep.
0 games, and I think Trey Sermon's still out there plying his trade.
He's bouncing around maybe in Indy. Is he in
Last
Indy?
scene, I think.
Trey Sermon, Indy.
I know he started the year in Philadelphia.
In Philly,
I think
right.
they cut him.
I agree with you. And I want to say maybe he's in Indy. Let me look. Trey Sermon.
Bippity boppity boo. He's an Indy.
Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts.
He actually had a target this week.
Yeah, good for Trey. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm the Niners, I'm just not drafting anybody named Trey ever again. I'm sorry. You forgot about Trey.
No, I didn't. He's actually 71st in salary. He's making $940 with the Dallas Cowboys.
Trey Lance?
Correct.
Well, that's got him.
That's I think Dallas's portion is $940.
Yeah, I was going to say. He's number 3.
Another former Niner quarterback making more than Brock Purdy, Josh Johnson, making $970K with Baltimore.
Baltimore Ravens, third stringer. Yeah.
I mean, the names that are ahead of him.
Well,
Jaron Hall and Sean Clifford making more than Brock.
Or CJ Beathard, Dibs, who we saw last night on Monday Night Football.
He's 45th in football. He's making 2.58.
I was going to say, as a backup and a longtime veteran, I guarantee you he's making around 2.
Two more former Niners in that same range. Brian Hoyer making 2.16.
Yep.
And Nick Mullins making 2.1.
Right.
Niners have a lot of former quarterbacks still out there eating.
Does Sudfeld count? I know he didn't actually make the team.
Yes, Sudsy would count, but he's making 1.6 in Detroit.
In Detroit, yeah. And then don't even start with Jimmy Garoppolo. He makes more than all of them combined.
I'm not even up there yet. I just went by another former Niner.
Who's that?
Gabby.
Oh, Blaine.
Gabby's making 1.3.
Where is he? Is he in Tampa still? Where is he?
He's Kansas City.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I mean, wow. Have a former quarterback, Niners.
Well, this is what we're saying, though. Like,
Jimmy G is 19th in football.
22 mil.
24.2.
Right? Jeez. Look.
Worth every penny. Sorry, I couldn't get that out.
We've talked about this, and it's always like a fun little punchline. Oh, wow, the Niners are getting bang for their buck. This is the most underrated thing that anyone has said all year. The Niners are not playing fair. Like, what they're doing is not fair. It absolutely plays as if you went around to all of the teams, and you're like, okay, it's kind of like when you start playing Monopoly and you hand out the same amount of money to every player. You get 5 20s and 2 10s and a few 5s, and you over here, just you. Everybody else gets 5 20s and 2 500s, but you get 17 $500 bills and 400 20s. But everybody else got to start there at the bottom.
And you get St. James, Tennessee, and New York.
No doubt.
The most valuable proproperties.
Well, those aren't the most valuable.
It's been proven.
Park Place and most valuable.
The most valuable,
like
based
analytics.
Based on what you have to pay
Not
for
the
them.
most expensive.
Where they fall on the board.
Got it.
What you can produce in terms of hotels and houses.
How have you not been on Jeopardy before? You know so much useless crap.
I was lucky enough to do a radio show with a guy who's top 5 in the world in Monopoly.
Huh?
Self-anointed.
Oh, okay.
Fortinbaugh. That was one of his bits. Believe me, we did a lot of material in Monopoly.
I tell you. That's exciting.
Oh, tell me about it. Better than his OJ jokes.
No, but this cannot be overstated. And I think we've now that you're sort of looking at the way the landscape is falling and what happens most of the time when the 49ers play one of the top other teams, they're just canning them. They're absolutely outclassing them. We didn't talk enough about Jacksonville. They were also coming off a bye. That's a good football team. They couldn't get a first down. The Niners are not the best team in ball. Right now, they're head and shoulders like men amongst boys right now. I don't know if it'll stay that way, but it's because they're paying $800,000 for the top-rated QB in football and potentially the MVP. That's a cheat code. You can't beat that.
Think about that. 75th in salary, first in production.
Unreal.
Think about that in terms of any other position in any other sport. That would be like having somebody in the association, 75th highest paid player, but he's basically the MVP. He's Jokic. He's Jokic, but he's making $4 million. And you're able to stack your team around him.
Exactly.
And he happens to be the best player in the association. Yet you're paying him the 75th highest salary. And I know it'd be higher than $4 million, but you get the point.
By the way, this is also furthering my comp of the KD Warriors. Why were the KD Warriors able to build so much talent? Well, because the superstar of their team prior to getting Kevin Durant was making an absurdly low amount of money. And not even this absurd. Steph Curry was making $11 million a year.
I'm looking at the salary structure for the 2017 Warriors. They went 67-15 in the regular season. They went 16-1 in the playoffs.
Yep.
83-16 in the association. Good little run. KD was making 26.5. Clay was making 16.6. Draymond making 15.3. Steph Curry making 12.1.
Yeah.
He was your fourth highest paid player.
What was Iguodala making?
He's making 11.
Okay.
It was the pre-Vetman days, worth every penny.
I mean, you're getting Curry for an Iguodala price. And it allowed you to do whatever.
You're getting Curry for a Kevon Looney price.
Yeah.
Who was making 1.18.
Right. But I mean, that's the thing. It allowed you to just put people at every position that overwhelmed the opposition. And it's exactly what I see right now with the 49ers. And this was low key. You didn't really hear too big of a deal about it because opponents don't want to put this out on social media. But you talk to people and you started to hear stuff. There were players around the league that were like, you sent Chase Young to them are you nuts? That's ridiculous. They already had all the good players. They already had the best roster. And you just sent to them one of the top pass rushers in the league to be opposite of Nick Bosa? Like, if you really sit down, forget what we see on TV. Just do it on a piece of paper and tell me how you can write all these names down and this isn't head and shoulders the best team in football. It's not even close. And I have no hesitation saying that today because of what we've already watched. Everyone's gone, we got these three teams. You got the Cowboys, you got the Eagles, and you got the Niners. Do we? Because they've played them both, and neither one could stay on the field in the second half. They were completely outclassed, and one of them was in their own building. Totally outclassed. There aren't three teams in the NFC. There's one. Give me a break. Tell me how I'm wrong.
It's hard to tell you that you're wrong, and I'm just scanning the roster right now, and I was just listening to you and thinking about if there's a place to see which team leads the league in first-round picks. And I was wondering how many first-round picks the 49ers have, and I just did a quick calculation.
It's the whole defensive line, right?
Well, I just did a quick calculation, and I think I have it at 9 first-round picks on their team. You've got Ayuk and Armstead.
Feels low.
You've got Bosa and Darnold. He counts.
Okay, that's 4.
You got Cleveland Furl.
Okay.
He was the 4th overall. And Javon Kinlaw. That's 6.
Yep.
McCaffrey makes it 7.
Yep. Chase Young.
Trent Williams is 8.
Trent Williams, Chase Young, that's 9.
I'm doing it alphabetically, and Chase Young is 9.
That's it? There's no more?
I believe that's 9, unless and I'm looking at, there's some blank spots, like Jordan Mason undrafted, Tabor Pepper undrafted.
Sure.
Charvarius Ward undrafted.
Really?
Brandon Ayuk was a first-round pick.
Yeah, he named him.
First one I named.
Yeah, he named him. He named
All right,
him.
my bad.
Close yourself in a private moment.
And obviously Debo missed by about 3 picks, whatever that was.
Yeah.
Debo was very early second
36th.
rounder. Yeah, very early second rounder.
Yeah, I wonder what other team could stack up with 9 first-round picks. And Sam Darnold's a little bit of a loophole, but he's a first-rounder.
Hey, it is what it is.
And Cleveland Furl, you forget, he was a 4th-round pick for the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, number 4 overall
Fourth
pick.
overall.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I was like, that's crazy that he went in the 1st and the 4th.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Rare draft. Double pick.
Yeah, look, this is not like cocky victory lap. We're not there yet. I don't know where this is going to go and what the team's going to look like then. And yes, you've got to be blessed with health. But for me, we're arriving real nearby the area code of the KD Warriors. And the KD Warriors, you all know this. Don't tell anyone in Toronto, please. But you know this. There was only one thing that could stop them, and it was health. Period. There's no way they're losing to the Toronto Raptors if 2 of their stars don't go down. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into a fight over it, but Toronto played very well.
They were great.
Fred VanVleet was otherworldly.
Yeah.
I still think the Warriors win that series.
They win.
Heck, they almost did anyway. But
exactly.
Exactly. It's always
no KD, no Clay.
Yeah.
I mean, no opinion.
Hindsight is always 50-50.
Sure.
No, it is. And it's a
low 2020?
Well, it's both 2020 and 50-50 because when you look back, you're either right or you're wrong. So hindsight is 50-50.
Good for you.
Shout out Low Neal. That's a lowism.
Let's go to Zach in Santa Rosa. Zach, what are you doing? Thanks for calling.
Hey, right on, guys. Thanks for having me on. I just wanted to talk about a little bit about the Niners here. I think we're the best team in the league. I think we have the best roster in the league for sure, especially after we dismantled the Eagles the other day. But I'm not going to get my hopes up too fast, man. It seems like every year, Kyle Shanahan, he might have a good regular season, but he ends up screwing something up in the end anyways. And I try to not get too confident with the Niners anymore, man. And I know, granted, we have a quarterback now. We have a competent QB who can actually throw the ball, which is different than past years. But, man, I'm waiting for Kyle Shanahan, another Kyle Shanahan blunder at some point. So I'm not getting my hopes up too much yet.
Well, that's fine, Zach. And I'm
waiting for the blunder.
Not going to surprise anybody here. But, boy, I could not see this entire picture any differently. And it fascinates me. I get it. Look, part of it is you're the head coach. So you're in the center square. And when things do not end the way we want them to end, we call them Kyle Shanahan blunders. I am struck, and I wonder if some of you are too. Do you hear that when you talk to people around the league, and obviously we have the opportunity to do that more than the average person, but when we do it, we're often bringing it to you. Does it matter to all of you that people who are inside the league, you'll never hear one person say anything about Kyle Shanahan other than, whoa, elite coach. Elite coach, put it on one hand, and that's probably being generous in terms of who I would pick to coach my team if I was starting a team. Every single criticism that I've ever heard of Kyle Shanahan comes from someone named Bob in Menlo Park.
Right. Somebody who's got a city as a last name.
Totally, which is fine. But
right.
Does that strike people at all? Does that do anything for anyone?
If I can answer for all the great callers out there.
Please do.
No, it doesn't. Because
why not?
Because he hasn't won the Super Bowl.
I
can see the game with my own two eyes, and I can see that he makes mistakes that cost our team. And I'm playing along with the bit.
I know
you are. I'm speaking for the fans.
But maybe
until
we
he gets it done, until he can win the Super Bowl, and until he can stop blowing double-digit leads and blowing it up 28-3 in Atlanta, for God's sakes, because he blew that. He blew it. And if you're afraid to admit that, that's a you problem, Mick. That's Mark. That's a you problem. Okay?
What's the blunder? We should have asked him. What's the blunder?
It's play calling.
Oh, but what specifically?
Yeah, I'd have to go through
Every
the play-by-play. He turtles up.
When we get to the end,
he was too risky in Atlanta, and he turtled up in the Super Bowl.
Okay, let's go. Kansas City. Tell me what's the play that sent the game sideways? The Kyle Shanahan blunder.
Oh, there are a number of them, Mark.
Name them. What's the play?
Do you want me to go through the play-by-play?
Yes.
Do you want me to pour through it?
Yes.
You just pulled out a...
I do.
You told me to name them?
I want you to put your name and its name on it.
Well, 888-957-9570. I'll let the callers speak for me, Mark, because they're not outraged, but there's a certain element of the fan base that wants Kyle to get it done. Tired of going to the Super Bowl and falling short.
Everybody wants him to get it done. Everybody wants him to get it done.
It's game management and play calling are the biggest issues.
Okay, here's the interesting thing. If I
challenge that play in Philly, you don't challenge it.
Okay, sure.
What are you doing, Kyle?
Sure, he ain't perfect. Who is?
Using your red hanky as an actual hanky.
Listen.
Throw the damn thing.
If I'm sitting on top of a mountain looking down at 49er football for the last 5 years, and I go, you're looking down at every play, and I want you to spotlight the ones that shine brighter as far as disappointing. Okay? The dropped interception against the Rams. That's one of them.
Players make plays.
Absolutely. But that's not on Kyle. how about Tyreek Hill, 3rd and forever? Well, that's the defense, and Bosa was held. Or whatever.
He's the head coach.
Well,
it all falls on his plate.
You said play calling. He's not calling the defense.
He hears it.
What?
He heard the zero blitz that Wilksey called.
Okay.
And was he disappointed about that. Step in.
The responsibility for anything with the team is his. But if you're going to spotlight those plays, if you're going to call a radio station and say a Kyle blunder, I'd like to hear what the blunder is.
There was the one in the Super Bowl
Jimmy overthrows Emmanuel. That's not on Kyle.
They ran use check on that dive, and they tried to have Trent Williams do that super sneaky, I'm a tight end in motion, cutesy-pootsy play. It was garbage.
Yeah. I mean,
too cute.
But
these are examples. It's coming to me now, Mark. And the calls are lining up to rebuke
I know,
you.
but that's so far down the list.
No, not for me.
That is the
3rd
play.
and short. You give it to Juice. Come on, inexcusable.
I wish people would.
888-957-9570. Who's got my back? Who's got my back?
If you listen to this show, God, I'm
pissed. Sorry, I went too far.
No, but
I overplayed the bit.
I invite everybody to watch on YouTube because if they could see your face, they'd understand this show so much better. Like, you don't think any of the crap that you're saying right now.
100% true.
No, you don't.
Never been more. Hold on.
Hey, Steiny, Dibs, look at me. You don't think what you're saying right now. You don't think that.
I absolutely think it.
No, you don't.
I think, but you know what I think, Mark? I think what I said at the start of this is that there are fans out there who believe this.
And that's fine.
I believe that Kyle Shanahan's a great coach, but I also believe game management-wise, he's made some mistakes, and there have been play calls that I've not agreed with. And they've cost us Super Bowls.
Who doesn't fit that description? Do you think a Kansas City fan is like...
Every single call,
Coach
absolutely.
Reed said
Genius.
so I know we lost 5 yards, but he was right.
I wasn't happy with the opening two series in Philadelphia this past Sunday. Those play calls were trash. You come out throwing. Establish the run, Kyle.
You know what? He talked about this. Do you want to hear what Kyle said about that? Philosophy of the first 6 plays. We got a 2-part answer, Dibs.
Wow.
How many stuffs are we going to get into this?
It's so funny how you guys look at it. There's no philosophical approach to how you're going to open up a 2nd and long and 3rd and long. So, like, you balance stuff out pretty well. I mean, or you try to. Sometimes you come out running. Sometimes you come out throwing. You never come out and say, hey, first 4 balls are going to this guy. Next 3 are going to this guy. I mean, we had that first play was planned. Usually in 2 shell, if BA crosses his face, he gets the ball, but it got tipped. If he doesn't, then it would have gone to Debo. What was the next play? Next play, could have gotten any 4 of them. We ended up not going to George over the ball, and I think we took a sack. And then you have 3rd and long. Not going to hand it off too much on 3rd and long. I think we did throw a pass to Christian there on 3rd and long. It was incomplete. So that was the 3rd play of the game went to him. The next time up, we had Christian on a bubble. We didn't throw it, so we handed it off to Debo. It's kind of it's an RPO, so you got to read what the linebacker does, so it could go to either of them. We lost 5 yards on it, was put you in a 2nd and 15, so didn't really want to call a run play there next on 2nd and 15, so you get off your script and you go to a pass to try to get back to manageable 3rd. I think I want to say we had a false start, and then you get to a 3rd and long, and I think Brock threw it out of bounds. So
there you go.